Just 2 more weeks to go, and after one particular segment on this show, thank fuck for that. I'm Jarrett with the retro review of WCW Nitro for March 12, 2001. I just got a few more shows to go, and there was one segment that was just so fucking pointless, I almost said, no, I'm fucking done. And this is after sitting through so much of the Russo bullshit that I don't know why this particular segment almost broke me, because it was just so bad. The fact that they revisited an angle that nobody fucking wanted, and they did it in the dumbest way possible. I don't fucking understand why they did this shit. And you know what segment I'm going to be talking about. It's the whole thing with Stasiak and Miss Hancock, because it was really fucking stupid. But anyway, they're in Knoxville, Tennessee, a once proud wrestling town that got to see a not very good go-home show for Greed. And boy, you could tell that Greed was a definite theme because they hit you over the fucking head with the whole thing. Dustin attacks Jeff. Jarrett starts the show to hype up the tag match between Dustin and Dusty against Jarrett and Flair. And he hit the Dustbuster in the corner, which was the former Shattered Dream. Somehow Dustbuster sounds a lot dirtier. I don't know how. He says, "You're going to kiss my old man's ass." Then the Magnificent Seven are backstage with a home camera doing a documentary. Flair talks about, all the plans and everything that they're broadcasting to the fans in the arena and the fans on television. So everybody could have easily just said, "What the fuck are you doing? You're broadcasting all your damn plans." Yes, it's typical heel stuff, but it was also really fucking stupid. But then again, it was later day WCW, so how could it have been anything other than stupid? This absolutely took forever. This just did. It was really pointless. Yes, I understand they were trying to push this, heel group and try to make it be like nobody could stop them except the new ownership. And speaking of which, they show some empty seats. And who are the new owners? It's Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon was going to end up owning the company 11 days later because Jamie Kellner pulled the whole deal from Bischoff's group, or at least the TV time, and there was no viable way to make WCW succeed. Shame that they couldn't have gotten a television deal somewhere else, because I would have liked to have seen what they could have done. But yep, we don't get to see who the new owners are, because we get to see Vince McMahon buying his competition a little bit later. So, commentary runs down the Cruiserweight tag title tourney action, and then we cut to Midajah being laid out. How did that happen? We sort of find out a little bit later. Young Dragons took on Elix, Skipper, and Kid Romeo. Cruiserweight tag titles, semifinal match, and they go 100 miles an hour, and it goes about 5 minutes, and play the day pins Yang. I mean, they went nearly about 13 and a half, 14 minutes into the show before they got to a match, and then they just had a 5-minute match. None of the matches, I think, went more than 5 minutes on this show, which, yes, WWE did that during the Attitude Era. But this was particularly like they just threw matches out there. They're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we have a pay-per-view. We're not going to give you quality content here, but please buy the pay-per-view. Part with your hard-earned money to watch a pay-per-view, even though we're giving you no incentive to fucking watch it at this point." So Scott is yelling backstage at everybody, "Who the hell beat up Midajah? Who the hell cares?" I mean, she obviously wasn't beat up. Nobody really cared about Midajah by this point. Storm does the usual promo, says he has an IQ that is higher than, the entire front row combined. To be fair, he probably wasn't wrong. And then Storm and Awesome took on Vito and Johnny the Bull. Well, this match happened and was kind of a squash, even though Vito and Johnny the Bull got in some moves, running Awesome Bomb to Vito 1, 2, 3. Johnny the Bull gets beat up. The Maple Leaf gets locked on. Hugh Morris and Conan run down because they're going to take on Storm and Awesome at Greed. And that was pretty much it there. Miss Hancock is here with a baby carriage. Remember when she was pregnant and David Flair tried to find out who the father was and got Buff Bagwell's blood and, blood sample, the First Blood DNA match at Halloween Havoc 2000, and Stacy Keibler wasn't fucking showing then? That was October. This is March. So unless it was an acceleration process not seen since the days of Robin Williams and Jack, this, was fucking stupid. She has a baby carriage. Be careful with this. I changed because of you people. God, Hogan possessed her suddenly. And says, "Let me introduce you to my newest baby." Stasiak's music hits. And they do meat chants, which I don't know why that was funny, but it kind of what he was actually clearly upset by it. That was a terrible gimmick, by the way. It wasn't a good way to use Stasiak's talents. And then she dances while he poses. "Oh no, what is happening?" Scott Hudson says. This segment was fucking ridiculous. They revisited a storyline nobody fucking wanted and did this. And then 8x10s in the baby carriage of Stasiak, and he throws him out into the crowd. And then Bam Bam Bigelow says, "Hey, you make fun of bald people with missing teeth. Why don't you face me?" That's how this feud started. That is literally how this match started, because he insulted the looks of some hicks in the crowd. It's one thing to have bad teeth and everything, but apparently, I guess, making fun of bald people with missing teeth, that's just too much for Bam Bam Bigelow. A once proud big man was reduced to a terrible feud right here. He tried to run him over the baby carriage, now we've seen everything. That was a line from Shivani. I don't know why this happened. It nearly fucking made me just shut the show off. It nearly did. Anyway, footage of what happened, to Midajah. Somebody turns the camera down, away to the wall and then beats him up, or beats her up rather. I think it was Sting. I don't actually remember who it was because some of this stuff is really muddy to me. I think Sting shows up a little bit, later. I don't know if he shows up at Thunder or if he shows up afterwards, but God fucking damn it, this show is so fucking bad at some points. Scott is pissed, yelling at everybody, blaming everybody. Booker's here to talk about how he's going to have to go through everybody, friend or foe, to get the world title back. Okay, typical promo. Scott Steiner's here. DDP is in the crowd and says, you really, really suck. Like he was trying to amp up the crowd here. And DDP's a great talker, but nobody was buying into this, even though DDP versus Scott Steiner was a damn good match at Greed. I'm going to look forward to talking about that a little bit after this. But then Scott falls over his own words and says, hey, DDP, if you interfere in Booker's match, you're going to forfeit your shot at Greed. Okay, whatever. Luger attacks Booker, by the way, because that's going to be his opponent. Luger is not smart enough to understand that when the bell rings, it usually means the match is starting because he had Booker in the torture rack during this attack. This torture attack, if you will. And then Booker bounces like a super ball for Luger and basically has to carry him. Luger couldn't do anything right. Rick runs in with a chair, causes a DQ, chair to Booker's head, because Rick is taking on Booker T for the U.S. Championship, where Booker will win and then become a double champion to close WCW down. Steiner driver to him, and then Miller comes down to help, and Canyon comes down to flatline Miller outside, and then DDP runs in because the match is no longer happening, so he can run in. Not the last time we see all this. Helms versus Courageous. Courageous couldn't do shit and was botching all over the place, and Helms won with the vertebreaker. That's all I really need to say. Chavo then runs down and attacks Helms, and basically just a hype up for Greed. And they actually had a pretty good match at Greed, as I recall, as you would expect, even though Chavo, as far as his beliefs, he's still a goddamn great wrestler, just with shitty beliefs. So, M.I. Smooth lays out Disco Inferno with one punch because he wants to get revenge on Canyon for tipping over the limo with a forklift that apparently was just around in a parking lot. I still will not understand that. Check out my Thunder review if you want to know what I'm talking about. And then commentary talks about the Greed tag match and the card in general, and then we get comments from Dustin and Dustin from last week, and then Flair and Jarrett talking about the match. Oh, we got under their skin and stuff like that, and we're going to have ass kissing here, and it's going to be a donkey's ass, because wrestling... God, this company deserved to fucking die. It really did. Canyon versus M.I. Smooth, who was limping and had a concussion because the limo got tipped over, but he just wouldn't stop moving. He wouldn't stop moving towards him. Even with kicks to the head and chair shots to the head, he kept moving like a 400-pound zombie, I believe, as Shivani said. That was it. It wasn't a match. Scott Steiner talks about eclipsing DDP. Okay? Scott Steiner said a lot to really say a little in a lot of his promos. Rick Steiner versus DDP. Quick start. DDP was aggressive. Rick did some ground and pound. Later, Animal runs in and kind of botches trying to do a double underhook powerbomb. And that's a DQ right there. Cutter to Animal, but then all the members of Magnificent Seven run in, and then Miller and Booker are laid out backstage. Oh no, everybody's laid out backstage. DDP has no help. And that's basically it right there. And that's pretty much it. I am so happy that I only have 5 episodes left. I have the Thunder till Greed, or before Greed. Then I have Greed. Then I have the second to last Nitro, the last Thunder, and then the last Nitro. You're going to be getting a lot of retro content, guys. You know what? Fuck it. I might actually just do the whole invasion angle because I need to watch more bad booking. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Charles Retlin. I'll see you soon.